In 2022, Italy watched the World Cup from home. Let that sink in. One of football's greatest nations, a country with 4 World Cup trophies, didn't even qualify. And here's the crazy part. If a giant like Italy can miss the World Cup, what chance do smaller football nations have? For decades, countries all around the world fought for one of just 32 spots. More than 200 nations, only 32 tickets. For many countries, the dream was over before it even began. So FIFA made a decision that would change football forever. In 2026, the World Cup will expand from 32 teams to 48 teams, the biggest change in tournament history. But why? Was FIFA finally helping smaller nations? Or was this all about something else? Something worth billions of dollars? Let's find out. To understand why FIFA expanded the World Cup, we first need to understand the problem. For years, the 32-team format worked. The best teams qualified. The tournament was competitive. Every match felt important. Fans loved it. But football itself was changing. The game wasn't growing in one country. It was growing everywhere. More nations were investing in academies. More young players were emerging. More countries were becoming competitive. Yet the World Cup stayed exactly the same. Think about that. Football became bigger, but the World Cup didn't. And that created a problem. Imagine organizing the biggest party in the world. Every year, more people want to attend, but you refuse to make the venue bigger. Eventually, people start getting left outside. That's exactly what was happening with the World Cup. Now imagine you're a young footballer growing up in Uzbekistan, or Jamaica, or Iraq, or South Africa. You train every day. You dream about representing your country. You watch World Cup legends lifting the trophy, and you tell yourself, one day, that'll be me. But reality hits hard. Some regions had very few qualification spots, one bad result, one injury, one mistake, and 4 years of dreaming disappeared. Many talented teams never reached the World Cup, not because they weren't good enough, but because there simply wasn't enough room. And FIFA started paying attention. Because if football is supposed to be a global game, why were so many countries locked out of its biggest stage? Then came the idea that would divide football fans around the world, expand the tournament. In 2017, FIFA officially announced that the World Cup would grow from 32 teams to 48 teams, 16 additional nations, millions of new fans, millions of new viewers, and countless new stories. For smaller football nations, it sounded like a dream. Suddenly, qualifying became more realistic. Countries that previously had almost no chance now had hope. For the first time, many nations could genuinely believe they might reach a World Cup. And that's exactly what FIFA wanted. Not just more teams, more belief, more participation, more countries invested in football. Because when a nation believes qualification is possible, everything changes. More funding arrives. More children start playing. More academies open. Football grows. But adding 16 extra teams created a huge problem. How do you actually fit 48 teams into a tournament? At first, FIFA had a strange solution. 16 groups, 3 teams in each group. The top 2 teams advance. Simple, at least on paper. Fans quickly spotted issues. Imagine you're the last team playing in a group. You already know every result you need. That creates opportunities for manipulation. Teams could play for specific outcomes. Some matches could become meaningless, and football fans hated the idea. So FIFA went back to the drawing board. Eventually, they came up with a different plan, one that looked much safer and much more exciting. The 2026 World Cup will feature 48 teams divided into 12 groups of 4. Just like the traditional format, the top 2 teams from each group advance. But that's not all. The 8 best third-place teams also move on. That creates a massive knockout stage. More games, more drama, more surprises, and more opportunities for underdogs. A smaller nation could lose one match, recover, and still survive. One magical run could change a country's football history forever. And if there's one thing football fans love, it's an underdog story. But here's where things get interesting. Because helping smaller nations wasn't the only reason behind this expansion. Not even close. Let's talk about money. Lots of money. The 2022 World Cup generated billions of dollars. Broadcasting rights, sponsors, advertising, tickets, merchandise. Everything connected to the tournament generates enormous revenue. Now imagine adding 16 extra countries. Millions of new fans suddenly become emotionally invested. Millions of people start watching qualification campaigns, buying shirts, watching matches, supporting their national teams. The audience gets bigger, the tournament gets bigger, and the money gets bigger too. In fact, projections suggest the 2026 World Cup could generate well over $10 billion in revenue. That's an astonishing number, which leads to an uncomfortable question. Was this really about helping football grow? Or was it about creating the biggest football business event in history? The truth is, probably somewhere in the middle. FIFA gets more money. Smaller nations get more opportunities. Both sides win, at least in theory. Of course, not everyone likes the change. Some fans believe the World Cup is becoming too large. Their argument is simple. More teams means more weaker teams. More weaker teams means more one-sided matches. And more one-sided matches could reduce quality. It's a fair concern. After all, the World Cup is supposed to showcase the very best football on Earth. But supporters of the expansion disagree. They point to countries like Morocco, a nation many people underestimated. Yet they reached the World Cup semi-finals. They point to Japan, a team that has repeatedly shocked football giants. They point to South Korea, a country that has produced unforgettable World Cup moments. Football is changing. The gap between nations is shrinking. And that's exactly why FIFA believes expansion will succeed, whether you love the idea or hate it. One thing is certain, the 2026 World Cup will be unlike anything we've ever seen before. More teams, more matches, more stories, more heroes, and probably more chaos. For smaller nations, it's an opportunity that may come once in a generation. For football traditionalists, it's a risk that could change the tournament forever. But the decision has already been made. The World Cup is bigger now, and in 2026, the entire football world will discover whether FIFA made the greatest decision in modern football history, or the biggest mistake. Because sometimes the changes that grow a sport are the same changes that transform it forever. And the future of football starts with 48 teams.